Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy arrived in Lithuania Wednesday morning in a surprise visit that was not announced in advance due to obvious security concerns. Good afternoon, this is Henry Keane on UATV English, bringing you the hard truth in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. Zelenskyy's plane landed in Vilnius airport at around 10:30, where he was met by Lithuanian Foreign Minister Gabrielius Landsbergis. In Vilnius, Zelenskyy also is meeting Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda, and after the meeting, the two presidents will hold a press conference. The purpose of this conference, of Zelensky's visit in general, in easy terms, is Ukraine says thank you, Lithuanian nation, for your diplomatic, moral, financial and military assistance to Ukraine, while we are resisting Russian brutal aggression. Zelenskyy will also meet with Lithuanian Prime Minister Ingrida Šimonytė, the Seimas Speaker and representatives of the political groups. Zelenskyy will further travel to Latvia and Estonia. Zelenskyy has written on X social network, I quote, "Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania are our reliable friends and principal partners. Today I arrived in Vilnius before going to Tallinn and Riga. I will hold talks with the President, Prime Minister, Speaker of the Seimas, as well as meet with politicians and media and the Ukrainian community security. EU and NATO integration, cooperation on electronic warfare and drones, and further coordination of European support are all on the agenda, but first and foremost, our gratitude for the uncompromising support for Ukraine since 2014 and especially now during Russia's full-scale aggression." President of Ukraine Vladimir Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy expects to discuss with the Baltic leaders the obvious Ukraine's necessity, international support for Kiev and Ukraine's further integration into the European Union and NATO. Zelenskyy expects to discuss with the Baltic leaders the obvious Ukraine's necessity, international support for Kiev and Ukraine's further integration into the European Union and NATO. Please, now let me take a minute and explain our truth as someone who was born and raised in one of these countries, Latvia. Why all three Baltic countries are so pro-Ukrainian. We in Baltics support on one, no, two, 300% Ukraine's European future and NATO integration because all Baltics, my native Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia, we all know what it is like to be under the Soviets. And only that is the mother of all Russian crimes. And the Kremlin's criminal belligerence comes out of the same criminal womb just as well. Putin does not care about not only Ukrainian lives. In particular, he and his thug oligarchic elite does not care about any life in general whatsoever. And Lithuanians and Latvians and Estonians, we are perfectly aware of that. Baltic states know that Ukraine is fighting not Dostoevsky, not Nabokov or Pushkin. We in Ukraine are fighting Putin, a Soviet KGB usurper who hides behind these great names to bring its tiny but venomous, devastating Soviet paradigm of conquest and murder, its Russian cult of death, onto European land in a delusional attempt to recreate a dead colossus of Soviet empire and reign it. That is exactly the case, believe it or not. Even better if you won't believe me. Just do yourself a favor. When you get a chance, ask Lithuanian, Latvian or Estonian what Russia really is. They still remember. That is why they say Slava Ukraini. On January 8th, 2020, Iran caused a terrible catastrophe that claimed lives of 176 people. 4 years have passed since UAE Flight 752 in Tehran crashed. Ukraine, Canada, Sweden and the United Kingdom referred the case of the crash of a Ukrainian civil aircraft to the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. Tehran acknowledged that the Ukrainian Boeing 737 was shot down by the Iranian military. But for 4 years, Iran has refused to take full international legal responsibility for the disaster despite numerous attempts to enter into negotiations on the issue. They always were shifting the responsibility for, of course, the United States. If whatever bad happens in Iran, they always say it is the United States of America behind it. Well, if that is the case, I wonder how come Iran calls itself an independent country then? Well, anyway, the ICAO Council will consider the case under Article 84 of the Chicago Convention. Bringing this issue to a high international level threatens with serious consequences for Iran. However, Ukraine, Canada, Sweden and the United Kingdom are committed to restoring justice for the victims and their families and holding the perpetrators liable to prevent similar tragedies in the future. After the tragedy 4 years ago, Iranian weapons continue to kill us, Ukrainian civilians. This time, it is Shahid drones, already in the hands of the Russian aggressor. The Tehran regime is aware of the consequences of its actions and shares responsibility with the Kremlin for these deaths, whether official Tehran accepts it or not. EU leaders are promising Ukraine will still get 50 billion euros aid package to help prop up our war-shattered economy, with or without the backing of Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Orban, who, as Politico and Me puts it, has cordial ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin, blocked approval of the lifeline funds to Kiev at a two-day summit, and although the measure technically needs the agreement of all the bloc's 27 governments, leaders signaled they could be willing to take the radical step of sacrificing EU unity and working around him if that's what it takes. When you see the tumor, you need to cut it out. In easy terms, sometimes sacrificing unity actually is an act of unity. That is it. It was me, Henry Keane, on UATV English, bringing hard truth in, I hope, very much easy enough terms. If you like it, comment, subscribe and share. Your opinion matters and is important to us. Stay safe and tune in for more already tomorrow. Goodbye.